So I'm making a mixed media canvas, and I've used the Claudine Helmuth Studio Gesso for this, and I've covered the sides because this is a box canvas, so you need to do the sides with everything you do as well, don't forget those. And I'm just using this old gift card. I just cut it into strips and then I put the gesso on and just move it around with this. I apply it with that as well and just spread it on, and then you can make nice texture with it like that. So that's the first stage, and then leave that to dry for a good while. You can dry it with your heat gun, but you have to be very careful not to over dry it because it will bubble. It is better to leave it if you can and to air dry. So the next step is to just put some colour on. Now I'm just going to drop a couple of drops. I can always add a bit more, but don't go too mad because this is very dark. And I'm just using, I'll just cut that in half. I'll just use a piece of the old gift card that I use, and I'm just going to spread this. I know it looks pretty miserable colour and everything, but this isn't the finished. You won't see this as it is. I'm going to just put a tiny bit more. At the moment you can see, bring it down and bring it up with the edges of this. I'm going to pop a bit more off there onto there, and I just want to bring it down and give it some texture and pull it out of the sides of the card. Maybe put a little bit down there because I'll be wanting a bit too much on there. Now that's why I say go easy with it, because you can always add more but you can't take it away. As I said, don't worry too much about it because we will be doing other things with it. I'm going to take that like that. And then I'm going to have some little pieces that are, that's probably a bit too much actually, and I'm going to, don't forget, as I said, don't forget your sides. I just want this one as if it's coming onto the edge. And you see I'm only using a tiny bit at a time. And I'll pop a bit on that edge as well. So now that the brown is dry, I'm going to apply some more paint. I'm using the Deco Art Crafters acrylic, it's the cheap one. It is very chalky. If you don't like the feel of acrylic, if you're doing albums and things, buy the proper artist quality ones, and they aren't chalky like these cheap ones. It's what they put in there to bind it. Actually, that's a bit separated a bit. What you want to do then is just to pop a little bit on top of your brown, and we're going to spread it out. I might want a couple of coats of that. I think it needs a shake up. You see, we're going to kill that really darkness off it. Oh yes, definitely need another coat because that's I need to shake it up. Separated a bit and it's very watery, and I want to spread it out. Actually, do one at a time. Put your little dobs of paint on one at a time, because if you do happen to leave it, it will make a mark and you'll get a circle on there. So let me just shake that up. So we've got lots of nice texture from the gesso, and now we've got that nice texture from the brown showing through. Plus the gesso texture. Because the brown, I've only put one sort of, you scraped it, you get the little grains out of the canvas on there, so that looks really good. So you can go on and do that until you're happy. If you want to give it another coat over the top, you can. If you want to coat the whole thing with the white, you can. As again, we're breaking all the rules of stamping by doing this, but as I say, you don't really want that sort of big an image or that clear an image. So we can take some pieces, we don't have to do the whole thing. Let's put an odd number on, because as we've said before, odd numbers look better than even numbers. Right, let's just pop a bit of that. So as you can see, I'm just lifting the stamp up. I'm only stamping a little bit. I can cover other bits up when I've finished with, I think I will put a little bit more on that top and bottom as well. So I'm going to take another 2 on there. Still having an odd number. Of course, we've got lots more to go on there. You'd never stamp like this normally, obviously, but anyway. And what I used there was the StazOn teal blue, because you need the solvent ink, because we're going to put some coats of other things over the top and we don't want it to run. So you could use any of those sort of solvent ink or waterproof ink, archival ink, something like that. Okay, to cover the frame, that's the Sizzix rectangle frame, and you cut your aluminium tape, and I've got the packaging. It's actually called metal repair tape, and I bought this in excess, but I think you can get that in B&Q for the UK or a hardware store, and it's sticky on the back. It's used for repairs for DIY, and you can just stick it on. Doesn't matter what you use, because you're not going to see any of it anyway. It's going to be stuck on, so I'm not going to actually, I've got my hair stuck to it as well. I'm not actually worrying. Cut the corners if you want to just make it easier, and then just fold it over. As I say, I'm not worrying about what the back's looking like. So I do the 2 sides, fold that over. That will just give you that. You could get your bone folder. Be careful not to get your nails on it, because you'll make nasty marks in it. Okay, so I've run that through the Cuttlebug now, and I've used the Craft Concepts embossing folder, Venus, for that one. And I'm going to add some alcohol ink. This one's denim I'm using, and I might use a tiny bit of green. That's this bottle. And some lettuce. And what I'm going to do is pounce over that, move it round so you're distributing the colour. Really does make a nice effect doing this tape. The more you pounce on it, the more you're going to get these lovely marks that I like. I love that. Alcohol inks are such fun, aren't they? I just love them. And yeah, I'll keep going, because I want to build up a nice lot of colour. So the other things you're going to need is the torso stamped out. I've done that in the Memento Rich Cocoa, and the words from the stamp set. And I've die cut the corner, the Sizzix corner. It's, I've lost it now. Where's it gone? Oh, hang on, it's under my inks. There it goes. It's that Sizzix Corners Flourish 2, and I'm going to use that. So I've just die cut an image that I was going to use on something else, and so I've just cut some card just so that I know that it will fit the die, and I'm going to do exactly the same with the tape that we did before. And I'm just going to cover that piece of card just exactly the same way, just cut strips and cover the whole thing, and then I'm going to run that through the Cuttlebug and cut out that swirl, and then run it through the same folder, embossing folder. And so just don't worry about it being too, just cut that corner off a bit, you know, as long as it's covered it, don't worry about what the back looks like, that's no problem. And we'll just snip into that at the back. You can just snip in, take off some of the excess there. As I said, it really doesn't matter what the back looks like, because that's all going to be stuck down anyway. So like that, and we're going to cover that, and I'll go on covering that. As I said, I'll die cut it through the machine and then run it through the Cuttlebug with the folder.